last session you just made planetfall after Andy's unfortunate power cut. Andy, you managed to I don't know if you had a chance to watch it. The loose booty, the ship, the cockpit blew up. They'd found that somebody had planted a bomb in the cockpit, and the pilot station was completely destroyed. The co-pilot station was repairable enough that it just get into orbit, and it's now in synchronous orbit above the little Heaven colony site, and you ferried all of the crates of guns down to the colony site in the air raft. And you'd been shown the map on the bottom there, and all those little black ones are houses, and you can basically pick whichever houses you want. So they basically gave you a couple hours and then said you've got there's going to be a town meeting. If you come to the community hall, there's going to be like a public feast, and then obviously you can start discussion about about which way you want to set up the defences. Okay, so you basically settle into your homes, and then at the appropriate times you head to the community hall. They have a load of those like trestle tables set up, and a load of local produce, which is tasty and delicious. The heads of the community are set at a table at the end, and then you lot have been given seats either side of those people on the main table. Also, the only survivor of the crew of the Loose Boat Andy was a Varga engineer called Lassie.
Right.
So you sit and have dinner. It's delicious. And then Muriel and Ernesto are there. Ernesto makes a speech to the colonists to say that the mercenaries are here to defend us. And here they are. And they all sort of give it applause and then turn to face you as if to indicate that, to say something. Or give a little speech or whatever.
Well, I shall stand up. Hello, people. We are here to do our best to help you.
Right, there's a lot of cheering and clapping at that point.
I'm sure we will defeat these vile villains who have been threatening you. We shall work together and create a greater future for all.
I'll clap.
Everybody joins in clapping. Does anybody else stand up, or are you just leaving it to...
I'm so tempted to give my military speech, but it probably won't go down well. Some of you will die. Some of you will die horribly. Some of you will be maimed for life. No, I bet not.
So after the meal ends, they're shown out, and basically you're left with the clan leaders of the colony, and basically they say, right, well, whoever is doing what job will give you whatever help you need. We'll create whatever fortifications you need, anything like that.
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is get a prisoner. So while Flea works on the defensive plan, I'm going to work on a way we can capture someone.
Okay.
Oh, right. We still don't know if they're actually coming in off planet or if they're actually on this planet as well.
No.
Do we? What are they actually mining for here? Is it anything valuable, strange, or what?
No, it's not necessarily just a mining colony. It's like a settlement colony. This planet's the first. It's the first settlement on this planet. So that they have to do mining, they have to do logging, they have to grow their own crops because they're basically building up the buildings are mostly made from local stone and wood. But there's parts of like an old spaceship. You can see like panels and that's being used.
Okay.
So, there's probably a colony ship that's been stripped for parts.
Now, they said they normally come from roughly the same direction every time, don't they? If I remember.
More or less.
So looking on the Little Heaven Valley map, would that be like northeast, northwest, southwest, north? I'm guessing they're not coming across like anywhere to their west because of the river. But
No.
could be
Well, it's an air car, isn't it? So it flies, doesn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
there's one, but there's a ground attack as well, isn't there? People said the people quite a few on the ground.
There's ground attacks as well. And they're wearing some kind of plain grey jumpsuits. Some kind of sound like paramilitary or...
Right. Well, obviously we need to know roughly which direction to set the defences for.
Rich, when these spacecraft land, do they like leave burn marks or any visible signs on the ground?
They do if they're using thrusters, yes. If they're using gravitic drives, no. The high tech level starships will all be basically using gravitic drives in a gravity well.
But I suppose they'll leave like an imprint of the landing pads, and they'll need a big enough open area to land in.
Yeah.
So I think we can get this do a survey using the hooking up to the ship in orbit and see if we can find anything that looks like I suppose we could write up a computer program to automatically scan areas for possible imprints of ships landing.
Yeah. Well, you've got the ship running. Dave managed to rig up a narrow band sort of computer link, Andy, to his hand computer so that he can use the ship sensors to scan around the area.
Right.
Right. So while it's doing that, Andy, basically they have an old Jeep. Your area of expertise. They have an old Jeep with 2 bullpup semi-automatic rifles that have been jury-rigged to fire fully automatic on it.
Right.
And you also have the air raft. Taking stock of the air raft, you can see that it's got the standard cargo mount on the side of over the center of the air raft. You might be able to mount something on.
Right. It also occurs to me, this ship that we got here in,
Yes.
we're not going to get back in it, are we?
No, the Lantham jump grid's been damaged. It needs a mobile repair dock, and at the moment you've got no way of getting one.
Has it got any weapons on the ship?
It does have weapons on the ship, yes.
And as we all know from playing Striker, you can use starship weapons against ground targets.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
And of course, the other thing I was thinking of, being an ex-naval engineer, if push really comes to shove and we're completely up against it, we could always, it'll take a bit of doing, mind, but we could always unship the packet, being, I presume, a nuclear power plant, if we find the enemy base, tow it down through orbit with the aircraft with a demolition charge attached to it and drop it on them.
I like that plan.
Did he just say we have a nuke? Rich, do we have a nuke?
Yep.
In theory, you have a nuke, yes.
You do realise that's a really bad idea?
Yeah, but I said as a last resort.
Right, so first option, nuke them.
Right, so Andy's been surveying the vehicles as that's his area of expertise, and like I said, they've got the aircraft. It's got a standard cargo mount point that looks like it could be modified to put something in. Bracey, you're roughly in charge of training these people. There's the settlement is 700 members, 50 are what could be called warrior material, another 200 are too young or too old to be of any use. The remaining 450 are willing, but they lack any knowledge of weapons or tactics.
Right.
And you have several crates full of newly stolen ACRs with all the serial numbers filed off.
Right. How many guys would roughly attack the settlement at a time, would you say?
40.
40. Right. Okay, then. Right. In that case, I think I'll take the guys who are willing, and we'll issue them a rifle and get them trained, fully trained up in how to use it. Basic military tactics, stuff like that. Probably want some of the younger ones as well. I want them drilled as... is this settlement got a doctor or anything, or a pharmacy? Or
They did not have one. They do, however, now have... they have Lassie, who was the engineer and the medic, because it was only a small crew.
Okay.
But she's only basically a failed medic. She's not a full doctor.
That's all right. That's good enough for patching holes.
I believe one of you has medical experience. Is that right? I think it's Davy's character has medical experience.
Yeah. So I want to drill the guys who are willing in basically basic troop tactics and stuff like that. I want 6 or 8 of the younger ones who can't fight, but I want them as stretcher bearer details just in case.
Right.
And I'm going to run them ragged, carrying heavy loads, so they get used to it. Have they got anybody in one of the old Grizzly Adams type who knows, who likes hunting and knows the local ground and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, they've got hunters there, yeah.
Right. Okay. Can we? I wonder if it's worth getting them out to try and to track where these guys' tracks came from. They've been out.
It's a tropical planet. Also, because you're Varga, Andy, you're constantly panting with your tongue lolling out.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So you start training them and doing that. Okay. Earl, do you have any particular plan, or are you just mulling one over where you need to get a prisoner?
I do have a plan, but it's weird.
That's not like you.
We need to blind the aircraft, right? So I think our best choice is to lure it in, knock it down, get prisoners. Now, Flea can take care of knocking it down, but we need to blind it. So is there any way we can find... Have they got, fireworks?
No, they haven't got fireworks.
Can we...
George can probably make some.
Right, well,
using
if George could make chaff...
bullets and things.
Yeah, bright, flashy, blind fireworks. Do you know what I mean? Like rockets and airburst things.
Yeah.
Just to sow confusion. And we know which way they usually come in, so we'll just lace the town with them and put them on a command deck thing and just start shooting the crap out of them as they fly over. And then that should worry them enough that we distract them, knock them down with Flea's shooting of things skills. We get ourselves a couple of prisoners, and then we can find out what's going on. Then they'll probably launch a quick ground offensive to recover the prisoners, at which point we'll be ready for them.
That's okay up to the point where if they don't launch the aircraft until they actually start to attack anyway, it's going to be kind of pointless.
Quick question.
But yeah.
Yes,
I'm not still harping on about the same thing, but what sort of weapons has that starship got? Any missile racks?
It should be on the journal, I believe.
Oh my god!
Hang on, I'll check. Sorry.
If you go to the journal and open the loose booty,
I'm frightened. Genuinely frightened that it's going to happen.
Andy knows Traveller really well, so
yeah. Right, let's have
there you go. Weaponry, fire control rate, no. Turrets 1 and 2, 1 laser and 1 sandcaster.
What's a sandcaster?
That's all right. The sandcaster.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that. Not quite when fired at ground targets. It's kind of like a giant shotgun, like an artillery-launched shotgun.
Yes. Could we mount it on the aircraft?
bit big, Dave.
It
but
is a
what
bit
I
big.
What I can't remember is the weight of an actual sandcastle. Never mind about the turret, all the gubbins that guns with it. Because if we can get it off, could we use the air raft to bring it down from orbit so that basically it doesn't fall like a rock? And then we have a giant shotgun that we can ground mount somewhere. That'll sort their air raft out.
Yep, that's a very good plan, Andy.
The best. Well, yeah, but we want prisoners. I'm pretty sure that will.
If George uses his special ability of being able to jury rig something once per session, then you could probably do that. It is definitely
engineer.
possible you could mount something on the air raft. The Sandcaster launcher is probably too big.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I was
but you
also thinking if they launch a ground offensive, you could use it like a giant claymore.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, you start. Well, you're the driver, so you'll be driving up to the ship. It's in orbit and dismounting the Sandcaster launcher with George.
Right. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That sounds like the plan.
What sort of heavy ground equipment has this colony got? Is it kind of like a mining colony? Has it got any big like diggers or stuff like that?
It does not.
It's got to have a JCB.
It's got a jeep, and basically, they don't have any heavy equipment.
That's not good.
How do they clear ground to grow food then?
With shovels and
oh god.
And
Unacceptable!
they're basically quite low tech, Andy. They're about
right, yes, I'm with you.
The colony, they have been off planet and paid for stuff to get shipped in, but you're basically using the last of their money to do it. They're doing it the old-fashioned way with shovels and plows and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Roughly how long is the circumference around the town when around the barbed wire fence, Rich?
You've got a scale on the map. You work it out.
Hold on a minute.
Just over a kilometre, probably.
It's like, hang on, I just want to work out the circumference. Do you want us to go and do pi r square or something?
So we need to build 3,000 landmines.
It just
3,000 landmines.
Yes, Andy?
This far trade is streamlined, isn't it?
It was before there was a great big hole blown in the hull. If you attempt to land it, because it's currently lost its streamlining, it'll probably just crash. Part of it will certainly burn up on re-entry, and it'll probably just crash.
Wouldn't be the first time I crashed a starship.
Are you thinking of just crashing the starship on top of them? A giant flaming starship?
No, I was just wondering if we took it very, very slowly, whether we could actually get the thing down on the planet's surface, working on the premise that we ain't going home in it anyway. We might as well use it as a fight. Because if all the enemies got an air raft, I reckon we can probably get them before they get us, if you say what I mean. But that's all right. I shall just get back on with unbolting this Sandcaster.
This laser turret, do you think we could unbolt that and mount it on their old colony ship?
The old colony ship was disassembled, and it's basically been used for making buildings and stuff, Dave. The mining laser is on a mount. When you've had a look at that, that looks like it would fit on the air raft.
Yeah, I've had a few ideas. This heap ammo. I think we could make some cartridges to fit them in, to fire them. So we've got like shotgun cartridges, firing heap. And we could have several of them to make like basically a big shotgun to take out aircraft. And we could probably, if we got the materials, we could probably make Gauss stuff. And I'm thinking, are the forks here made out of iron?
Are the forks? You wanted the cooking utensils and things.
Well, I'm thinking Earl's look with fork. We'll make a Gauss. We'll make an automatic Gauss gun that fires multiple forks, and with the Teflon coat the prongs.
I would like to vote for this in every form possible.
The cutlery appears to be old-fashioned spacer supply, so it's made of some kind of polycarbonate, and it looks like it's a leftover from the original colony ship, and some of it has been replaced with like carved wooden stuff because metal's on pretty much of a premium at the moment.
We are literally a cross between the A-Team and MacGyver at the minute.
We are, yes.
So I might as well unbolt the laser while I'm up here, and then when we get down, we can mount a mining laser on their aircraft. I'm presuming that we've got the aircraft off.
No, there's only one aircraft. That's the one off the ship that you flew down.
Right.
They've got a Jeep with two bullpup rifles on, rigged for fully automatic.
Right. Well, if we mount the mining laser, which I presume is smaller than the ships that are like a proper ship's laser, if we mount that on the end and we'll put the ship's laser on the existing mining laser mount, presumably when the enemy notice that we're firing at them with the mining laser mounted on the aircraft, they then won't know that we have an additional laser.
Yeah, that seems sensible.
Until we start shooting at them with it.
Right, so what is the priority order then, Dave? Are you going up with Andy first to get the Sandcaster launcher and then coming back down and then going back for the laser turret? Because that'll take most of a day. Or are you making whatever these weird shotgun shell things you are? Like punji stakes?
I can take George, can't I?
Yeah, we're also Lassie can do some work, can't she, on making shotgun shells and that?
Yes.
So me and Andy can like take I don't know whether we should go for the laser first because it might be more versatile, and then the Sandcaster.
Well,
and she can be making shotgun, shells using these heat rounds.
Are you having a look around to see if you can find anything usable around the base?
Yeah, I'll have a look. I noticed there's a machine shop.
There's a machine shop, yeah, and a store. In the store, you find 4 cubic meters of nitrate fertilizer, piles of sugar, lots of pipes, paper, glue, and string.
Bombs.
Yes.
Dave, make us a clever roll, please.
Everyone's going to die.
A 3. Right, Dave, you work out if you used the shotgun ammunition, because the colonists have dark guns and half a dozen of them have shotguns. If you use all the shotgun ammunition as blasting caps, you can make primitive rockets and mortars, primitive landmines.
Claymores?
Very, very primitive claymores. There's a machine shop where you can get shavings and ball bearings and things.
We so need to make hundreds of claymores.
Someone start humming the A-Team tune.
Da, 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 da. The lowercase A-Team. Da, 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 da. Right,
Funny enough,
so
one of my
what's the plan?
squads is called the AIDS team.
God. Right, Bracey's basically drilling people and saying, this is the bit you don't look down the round end. They point that at the enemy and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what else to do, but I don't think anybody is. And Andy and Dave. So what's the order of play with you two? Because you've got Lassie as well, who's an engineer who can help, and Andy's an engineer. But I would no. Actually, you probably won't. You can manipulate the grav plates using the co-pilot's position to.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I can help.
Do you think it's worth taking the... Oh, I was going to say we need the aircraft to get up the ship, don't we? Okay.
You need the aircraft to get up to the ship to get the sandcaster down. Earl, so basically, Andy says, get in this aircraft and Quarantine help us move this sandcaster launcher.
Yeah.
And then Dave, what are you doing?
Well,
I thought I was going up to help them.
You're going up as well,
sandcastle
right?
and-
Okay. Then. Right.
While we're up there,
We need someone to make a lot of grenades, like bombs. Do you want to do that, Davey, since you are essentially a tinkerer at heart?
Oh, well, I can do that then.
They must have a couple
About
of
1,000 claymores.
they must have a couple of good mechanics and stuff like that.
Just make
What, Andy?
uh-huh.
What fuel does this starship use?
Water.
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen. Oh, God.
Well, apart from the power plant, which is nuclear.
Yeah, that may be a slight bit of overkill for what I'm intending, but never mind.
Wow.
Oh, they've got a generator. They'll have loads of fuel. What fuel does the generator run on? Rich?
it's a hydrogen generator, so you can pour water in it, and then it'll turn into hydrogen, and then you can run it off. It's basically a mini ship's power plant.
Doesn't anybody use any good old bloody carbon-based fuels? Ugh.
No, of course not.
Right. While they're doing this as well, Rich, and I'm drilling them, I want the rest of the colonists who've, got mine experience, I want them to dig... First of all, there's no way we can clear the forest back further than 100 metres, roughly in the direction that these guys normally come from.
Not without extreme amount of effort.
Right. Okay, in that case, inside the wire, I want them to dig, and I'll show them how to do it. A 2-man fire trench, roughly every 15 metres around the perimeter.
Right.
In the, primarily in the direction that the guys normally come from, but could stretch around as far as they can out either side.
Right. Okay. Even the people who are no good for things can help with that, so they start digging.
They can hide the, get the foliage to camouflage it on the front and stuff. I also want to, after I've done drilling, if I've got time, grab one of the local Grizzly Adams types, and I want to make myself a bloody ghillie suit. And if possible, so I know we talked about it last session, if I can, I want to try and make a rudimentary scope and a silencer. Silencers are actually not that hard to make, but obviously it's up to you with the rolls and stuff. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just stated, maybe take one or two off the roll for if they can hear it. Sort of.
Right. Okay then.
It's just a round tube with a few baffles in. So
yes. Well, George is the man for that. Okay, Andy. So you have got Earl helping you.
I'm helping.
Dave's making bombs, and what's Lassie doing?
Going home.
What's that? Has Earl fell down the well? Right. So, Andy, so you get a +1 from Earl Helpman. So give me a careful roll, because I assume you're carefully going to try and get this sandcaster out.
Damn right.
We'll have a careful roll with +1 from Earl Helpman.
I've got my careful hammer.
Careful.
Ooh, that's a 6. Right. So within a couple of hours, you've got the canister launcher dismounted, and you've got
all the ammunition.
Yeah. You can carry one down with the canister launcher, and then you can go another 2 per trip. So you also use the grav plates on the ship to cancel out some of the weight of the grav launcher. And you swing it underneath the aircraft, and slowly you manage to bring it down safely into the center of the compound. So you have a massive sandcaster launcher. Right. Well, where would you like to put it? Basically, just
smack bang in the middle, I reckon.
Well, I reckon. They come from the northeast, people.
Can I just say, clear line of fire might be a good idea. We're not shooting straight through someone's living room
Yeah.
window.
Yeah, you should be able to just draw use your drawing tool, Andy, and just make a little mark.
Right. Because what I'm thinking is, if these people normally come from the north, we'll want it over somewhere near those barns, but on some sort of a rudimentary, like, off to the machine shop chap's tripod type thing.
Yes.
So,
Why
hang
don't
on.
put it on top of the school?
Put on top of the church.
That's a really good idea.
So you're just gonna have it's like an old-fashioned like Amish church with like a rudimentary like tower and stuff. So you just
They can build barns.
yeah, of course they can build barns.
Right, let's haul it up to the roof of inside the church, through the roof, knock slits out all the walls.
Right. Okay.
Well, that should give her a decent fail to fire.
Right. Right, you slowly lower the you slowly lower the
BFG.
sandcaster onto the roof of the church, and it's bolted in place. You'll have to use a line to a hand computer to fire it.
And we'll need to run lines to the Jenny.
Yeah.
But we can bury them.
And we're going to need some sort of turntable.
Yeah.
There's no point just having it firing in one direction. I better go back and get the laser off the ship now as well.
I'll help. I was good before. I had
You
the
were.
hammer, and then you said hammer,
Andy-
and I passed the
Andy,
hammer,
you
and then
can't-
you said get the screwdriver.
The
and I got
generator
lost.
probably doesn't have enough juice to power a ship laser.
Oh, it's only a little one. Right, well, I shall have to one-ship the power plant as well.
The aircraft cannot carry the power plant, unfortunately.
Could
I
we
like-
not parachute?
I like your thinking.
We can fire the laser from the ship, from the ground.
I was
That's a good
just going to
idea.
say, does anybody have gunnery?
No, but how hard would it be?
Hang on.
Somebody
No,
could go
wait a minute. I
to
have
the
a plan,
ship.
but I need to urinate. I'll be back in a moment.
I actually think I've got gunnery. Being
Right.
ex-military, but I'm not sure.
But we kind of need you down there. But the other
Yeah.
alternative is, if we put somebody up there in the turret, and we all act as forward observers to get the +1s or +2s or
We
whatever.
don't need anybody actually up in the turret. We just link the turret to a
Remote
ground
it?
station.
Yeah, Davies has already done a remote
Yes.
link, so he can
Ah,
fire.
right.
All I need is my little hand computer in. But as your uncle.
Yeah, Davey used his immense technical gadgetry wizardry and linked up a remote link to the ship.
Excellent. Because they won't be expecting that.
They will not. They will not at all.
Well, I hope they're not.
Right, so that's how the first day passes with an A-team style montage of claymores being made, trenches being dug, armour plate being welded onto big black vans, that kind of thing. Brissy, you've got several squads of reasonably competent people who you reckon won't actually shoot themselves, and you've got lots of people who know how to take the safety off, point it in the rough direction, and hold the trigger down.
Right. Okay. I want the guys who are roughly competent. A couple of QRF squads, just in case we get any breaches. Say 6 to 10 per squad. You know, they're like the last resort. And I want the others to basically, I'll take them out the trenches, show them how to make range cards and stuff like that. You know, for marking targets, any lock and fails of fire and stuff like that.
Right. So this is basically the 18th.
Congratulations! That
Meets the
trench is where you live
Magnificent Seven.
next week. Yep. 7 samurai.
Right.
I also want to have a word with the guys, the old, however many there is of the old Grizzly Adams, like who like to hunt and stuff like that, and tell them that we're going out the next morning to have a little fun laying some traps in the woods.
Right, Dave. It takes an hour to build a mortar shell, 6 hours to make a mortar tube, or 3 hours to build a rocket launch reel. Or you can build like half a dozen improvised mines in 2 hours. So it's up to you what you build.
How many hours have we got?
Well, just the normal working hours, basically, on the first day.
So I could build a rocket tube plus one mortar on one day.
Yeah.
2 more mortars and 2 or 3 more mines on the next day.
Yeah. Right, so you've got about a dozen improvised claymores, Bracy, to plant wherever you like.
Cool. Okay. I'll have a think about that. I asked the Grizzly Adams type, is there what indigenous life is roaming around in the forest? Is there anything like quite big?
No, it's all pretty small and it's not very aggressive. There's no
right.
They haven't.
What I also want to make is some noise makers, trip flares, so that we can set them deep into the forest. So that obviously, if these guys, somehow we don't spot them, then they're approaching through the forest. We can hear the bang of setting these.
Well, I was going to say, wouldn't it be better to use rudimentary electronic ones so we get a warning without letting them know we're not?
Yes, that was my idea, but I don't know if we've got the tech enough to make that. We could do it. Well, that's up to Richie, but yeah, that would be preferable. If not, basically the.
And the wire?
Trip wires.
Right. So you set up some traps, you set up some trip wires, you plant your explosives. Dave has built some improvised mortars, A-team style, out of drain pipes and sandbags and things like that.
Have got
and
fireworks?
One rocket tube.
And do have fireworks?
Yes, and some fireworks.
I like fireworks.
And I'd better get this mining laser attached to the aircraft.
Yes. Okay. So Andy spends the best part of the next day attaching the mining laser to the aircraft.
I will spend the entire day singing the A-team music to increase. In fact, has the village got a band?
They've got a singing quartet.
That'll do. Teach them the A-team theme.
La 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 la. Right, so you spent a good day and a half preparing all of these adventures.
In between you going up and down to the craft in orbit, have a little scan over the ground area up to maybe a couple of kilometers or whatever, just in the rough direction. See if you can see any signs of landing areas or stuff like that. If the ship can't get that,
Will do.
Did we find out if we can shoot from orbit? Because I do have an idea about that.
You can shoot from orbit. It does lose some effectiveness firing through an atmosphere, but you can fire the ship laser through orbit.
Can't we pre-target it into 3 or 4 target locations, like north, south, east, west, north, the cardinal directions around the town?
Yeah.
And then it would be easily fired by remote at that point. You'd be saying, turn the laser to position A, fire.
Yeah, just dial in the fire mission sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we should do that, because that mightn't do a lot to them, but all of a sudden aerial bombardments have a tendency to slow advances down somewhat, especially if you wait till they're near it.
Have we got any more barbed wire fence as well, Rich?
They've got enough that they keep for repairing it.
Right,
is there any eBay on this planet?
No, there is no eBay.
It's went downhill since Elon Musk sold it.
It certainly has.
It'll never make it to Mars.
It'll never make it to Mars. Right.
Yeah.
So you do all of this. Do you set up guards or patrols or whatever, Bracey?
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. We set up. Yeah, basically, I want a 360-degree watch just in case. They don't come in the normal direction.
Do they ever attack at night?
No.
No.
Right. In that case, we'll be able to keep everyone on alert during the peace, basically.
I wonder if it's worth going for a little patrol sort of thing in the thing, because we're Vargas, we'll be able to smell them miles.
Well,
before
I think we should lure them in and hit them first, and then go after them. Because we should get prisoners, and we can persuade them with our bargain.
That's why I made a ghillie suit and a sniper rifle that's silent.
Right. Well, you do all these defences, and on the second day, just before dawn, there's a loud explosion comes from the northeast, followed rapidly by another 2 or 3 explosions.
Right.
You jump out of bed, you grab your gear, and you come running outside.
Right.
The day is dark and hot and close, and there's thick storm clouds, and it's just before dawn.
Right. We'll get the troops in the trenches and tell them to keep the heads down, out of sight for now.
Right.
I'll link up to this ship and use the surveys to see what's in that.
Right, Dave, make a clever roll. Bracey, can you please make a forceful roll as you're shouting orders? Get in position! Get your horses out of bed!
2. Fair.
Yeah, it's a pretty good success. Right, they don't panic. Bracey, you start sending them scattering left and right into position. George, where the minefield is, and the 100 metres of clear ground, it looks like they've used some kind of explosives to clear a path to the northeast.
Ugh. This is what I was worried about. If they knew, because I don't think this bomb on the ship was an accident. I think this is, they know we're here.
You reviewed the security footage. The customs people who were hassling you. Sorry, Andy, you weren't here for this bit. I think you'd already disconnected. The customs people that came on board with a suitcase, but the suitcase was blurry on the video camera, and George determined that it was some kind of really high-tech signal jammer, so they couldn't detect what was in the suitcase or anything. And they're pretty sure that was what was the bomb. So it was the customs officers on the planet side there that planted the bomb that caused the thing. Right. Okay. So Bracey's shouting and ordering people about. Andy, what are you doing?
Have we got anybody manning this sandcaster?
If you wanted to set up roving patrols, or you can put people on shift, yes. If you wanted to have them on the sandcaster.
Yeah.
They're not terribly skilled with it, though, because you've basically just given them a rough idea how to use it. If you're relying on the natives.
I'm just wondering whether I shouldn't look after that. But then who's going to fly the aircraft? Can somebody else fly an aircraft?
Yeah, me.
Right. Well, you've got a mining laser on the aircraft, Dave. If you like, I'll take the sandcaster. And for the moment, all I'm going to do is swivel it round to the northeast and just keep my eye on what's coming.
Right. Okay. So Andy runs into the church and runs up the steps to the improvised shotgun. Right, Andy gets a fair point for panting while he's running. Earl, what are you doing? You've jumped out of bed. I assume you're all carrying the ACRs, are you? Because you had some crates of stolen ACRs. So you grab your ACR. What do you do now?
Rich, I've gotten your connection to the server's been interrupted.
Yeah, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Should be all right. Worst
ha-
case scenario, jump over. To be honest, the server probably needs moving, like Russia or something.
How do I do that again, Earl? Do you right click or something?
Oh,
You
no,
go...
it's gone off.
Oh, it's all right. And don't mess about with it. Oh, it stops working. It's best to move. Or you can make me an admin. That won't go bad.
I can do that because then you know how to use stuff.
Well,
How do I do that?
usually, I don't know how to make someone an admin because that would be madness.
Right, well, I can't just right click on you apparently.
Ryan knows. You'll have to ask Ryan next time he's about. He knows technical things. He's tech support for the entire. Well, what I am going to do is I am going to proceed to the middle of the town and help people in general, as in, help rouse the people and that sort of thing. And then I'm going to move towards where that explosion came in and cleared the mines, because they're obviously coming from that direction, you would think, and get ready to trigger the fireworks.
Cough, cough. Earl, check the radar antenna, see if they've got any targets for an air off.
I will check the radar antenna to see if there's any targets for an hour.
So far, there's nothing showing. It's still dark, and then all of a sudden, all along the ridge line, automatic fire breaks out. You can see the flame of muzzle flashes.
Right.
Take cover!
Well, I did tell them to hide. Keep their head down.
Yeah, your troops have thrown themselves into the trenches. Bullets stitch left and right, and you have to dive to one side behind one of the huts to avoid them.
What's the range of an ACR roughly, Rich? Hang on, mate.
Hey. They're shooting.
Couple hundred meters, 200-300 meters.
Yeah, well, it's basically M16.
No, okay. Earl, just keep your head down. It'll only hurt once.
Right, you can't see anybody from the circle of the trees, but there's a lot more than 40 muzzle flashes. Like, a lot.
Okay.
They're all along the edges of the trees.
Right.
Possibly
Can I use
hundreds.
the ship's laser turret to target that ridge?
Hang on. Yeah, I was just going to say, Davey, see if you can get in contact with us just to have a look to get a rough idea of how many people we're facing.
Right, it's in the forest. You can't make anything out. You can't make anything out. But,
Survey.
eh?
Stuff on the ship.
Yes, you can have a look through optical sensors, but the ship sensors can't. They don't have like a thermal camera or anything that you can use from orbit. So make a clever roll. It's a 1. Right, Dave, you zoom in as best as you can, and you get an overhead view, and you can see a full half of the base, the entire eastern edge, from the north point to the south point. There are people firing from the tree line.
Can I target them with the ship's laser turret?
You can certainly take a shot. You won't be able to like kill them all, but you can take a shot and blow a large hole in the tree. Right.
Do we want to shoot our bolt this early?
No, wait.
For now.
Let them come in. No return fire. Hold your fire. Hold your fire.
Right.
That's a trap.
The semi-trained peasants open fire.
I'll scream at them to
wildly.
cease fire. I'll scream at them to cease fire.
Right. You scream at them to cease fire. Make a forceful roll, please. Right. About a third of them here, but the rest of them you can see the firing widely into the trees. They're also holding the trigger down too long, so the recoil is actually pushing the bullet up. Tracer fires zip like high into the trees, like well above where they should be shooting.
Right. But are the good guys who are in the trenches holding fire? Because I did tell them to keep the heads down.
Yes. It's generally the untrained ones who are basically just shooting bullets here, there, and everywhere.
Actually, that could work to our advantage. Actually,
It'll
Russell
use
Fit-
all our ammunition.
well, I'm not bothered about these.
We'll
idiots, but-
we'll ration their ammunition in future.
Right, okay. So now, Andy with the giant shotgun. The entire... let's have a nice blue colour to represent where the firing's coming from. The entire of this area here is where there's fire breaking out from.
Right. How far away?
100 meters.
100 metres away. You can see the muzzle flashes from the edge of the...
Like on the edge of the trees.
Yes.
Should I put a hole in them or not?
Come in. Get your hair thing. It's down there.
No, not yet. I
Well,
wouldn't, because you want to really keep that
To really
a surprise in case they bring in, they try and flank us with their aircraft, or they've probably got more than one aircraft now.
Yeah, and at least until we say the whites of their eyes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. George, make...
Well,
oh, sorry.
in
Go
that
ahead,
case, I'll swivel the sandcast around so I'm sort of in the middle of that arc just for when I'm needed.
Andy. Right. Okay.
I'll start looking east, west.
George says incoming, and go on, George. Make me a clever roll because you're using the computer. Jesus. Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
Right. Okay. The dark sky shines bright as day as there's a great burst of laser fire from overhead, and it slowly creeps. It slowly creeps from here along this edge, burning about that much of the forest edge. You think you can hear screaming over the sounds of the gunfire. The trees catch fire. There's a great blaze, and there's a furrow digs into the earth. The shooting stops. The shooting stops, and then obviously, Dave, it's just a short burst. You can't just keep it on full power. And then it stops. It all goes dark again. You can just see the trees burning in the thing. The peasants that were in the trenches shooting stop shooting. Everybody just sort of stands and looks out into the darkness. It's all gone very quiet.
And at
this point, I shout everybody to stop firing.
I love the smell of laser fire in the morning.
I'll literally go on the Battle.net and go, was that us?
Yeah.
That might have been friends of ours.
You do know George has got the uplink. He's got his link to his hand computer.
That was terrifying.
That was horrendously terrifying. And that was just one ship laser.
Just don't fumble. Whatever you do.
Really don't fumble.
Right, the peasants, they all stand up and they're shouting, "We won! We killed them all!"
I scream at them to get
they all
down.
start cheering and they're raising their bullpup, and they're like, "Yeah!" There's all sorts of cheering and screaming, and it's like, "Yeah, we
Can
won!
I
We
start
set them
shooting
off."
people who shoot in the air?
I'll whip my pistol out and fire a couple of rounds in the air, because that'll get them on the ground quicker than anything.
Right, you pull your pistol out, you point it in the air, and then there is a loud explosion behind you. The night suddenly flashes to light. There's a boom at where the porta potties were, just here, where the porta potties were. There's a giant crater. Earth gets sprayed up through the air, and there's a loud flash and bang, scattering excrement and the porta potties in all directions.
They're using mortars. That's most unsportsman.
Right, Bracy, please make me a clever roll. As Lancer.
No.
0.
Mediocre.
Well, you could try. You could use a fate point to invoke your training.
Yes, I'll use a fate point.
Don't sound so sad.
You wanted to spend them like they were going out of fashion, though, didn't you? So I'll use a fate point.
Right. So luckily it hasn't killed anybody, but it's completely wiped out all of the porta potties, and there's a gigantic crater in the floor. It's way bigger than a mortar crater.
Right. Did I hear any whistling beforehand, or
Now you come to
has
think
that
of it,
cra-
you just think that like a second before you heard it, you might have heard something, a high-pitched whine.
has God?
There's a great big shouting crater, just like
Right.
GM art. I love it. Right. What do you do?
Right. I yell at everyone to take cover, and then I take cover myself.
I find a trench and live in it.
Yep.
Right. So Earl runs off and dives in the trench.
I'm gonna head for a trench that's to the west though, because this is alarmingly like a.
Can I have a I don't know kind of clever roll? Just did it come from like east to west, west to east, north to south, south to north?
You weren't sure, but as you crouch in the darkness,
Yeah.
excrement splattered above you. Please make another clever roll. Everybody can make a clever roll, but it's particularly important for Lancer.
So
Has some bugger else got something in orbit?
Is yours the -1?
yeah.
Oh wow, you really suck. Right, everybody hears another high-pitched whistling as you crouch there in the dark. It takes a few minutes.
Few minutes.
Yeah, a couple of minutes. You're crouching in the dark, sweating, like scanning the horizon. Dave's frantically tapping on the hand computer, trying to scan and find where this is coming from.
If that's a mortar, it's a very, very long range mortar for a couple of minutes flight time.
Right,
Or it's a
Lancer.
missile from orbit.
Right. You identify the munition as a rocket-assisted cannon-launched high-explosive round, probably about 80mm cannon. It's an indirect shell, which means it's coming
Right.
from beyond the ridge line.
Right. Okay. Where's my Grizzly Adams, guys? I need a lift on the aircraft. I'm going hunting. Unless Davey, can you try and find where it is by scanning?
I'm looking.
Yeah, Dave's having a look, but he hasn't been able to because there's still quite a large area for him to scan. He hasn't been able to scan it. So you're going to dive in the aircraft. Are you going to take anybody else with you?
I'll take a couple of the Grizzly Adams
I'd
types.
suggest. Well, Earl's in a ditch.
I'm in church. I'm not praying, but I'm in church.
Well, Andy's the driver, so maybe you should shout for Andy and
Yeah,
everybody.
I'll shout for Andy and a couple of the Grizzly guys.
Oh, back down the stairs.
Right.
Right.
Head east, hug the trees, go.
Yeah.
And then we'll hopefully
Right.
we'll either
so
see the flash or of where it's launched, or hopefully Dave will find.
what about Earl and Dave though?
Somebody needs to get on that sandcaster.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Good man.
I'll go on the sandcaster.
And Dave, if the scanners locate that whatever it was, drop a laser on it, will you?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Then let us know.
Aye, because the small thing moving quite fast is us.
Right. So yes. So there's two others jump on the aircraft with you, and you, Andy's driving. You're sitting behind.
Right,
How
we'll head
have you rigged up
south.
the mining laser, Andy? Does it fixed fire with you aiming the air raft, or is it on
Was it? Well, it depends on how big it was. Was it small enough to pintail mount?
Yeah, you could pintail mount it, but if you did that, then like somebody would have to be using it, like Bracey or one of the others.
Yeah, but of course at a push you can always lock a pintail mount.
You can, yeah.
No, I'd best pintail mount it because then we've got more flexibility if we need.
Right, okay. Right, so you zip out south. It's over the ridge, somewhere to the east.
Right. Yeah, we'll head south over the bit that's like southeast over the bit that's been vaporized. So hopefully there'll be no fire, and then we'll head out, and I'll keep an eye out to see if there's roughly how long between the first round and the second round fire was it, Rich? A couple of minutes.
Couple of minutes, yeah.
Right. I'll keep an eye out so if I can see any flashes, roughly, so I can give a direction for where it's coming from.
Right, okay then. Both of you to make a clever roll. Oh yeah, right. So you see a flash coming off over this direction here on the large map. Occasionally small arms fire. You zip down low over the tree, smaller fire rattles up towards you as it flies out over the forest, and you see a large round come overhead. Earl, you hear incoming.
Oh, I duck.
You're like, quack, baby.
Just like bloody hell, what's that World War II film with Clint Eastwood?
Right, well, I get a terrible roll. So basically, the rocket round comes in and wipes out the second barn. It doesn't hurt anybody though, but it blows a great big crater up and blows the barn, which explodes and splinters of wood fly everywhere.
It's like, oh yeah, that's it. Kelly's Heroes. It's like just before I leave, I look at it and go, whoo-wee. Kind of reminds you like home, doesn't it, boy?
Right, Andy, basically you hear a large explosion as it hits the colony. The cliffs loom ahead of you, and you have to gain altitude across the ridge line. As you do so, the air raft shudders. A quick glance shows you a grounded air truck beneath you. It's got a large gun on its roll bar, firing fully automatic at you. Brissy, you get your paper doll recoils in terror as it recognises there's a VRF Gauss gun mounted on this truck. Andy definitely throws the air raft to one side as this bullets impact upon the bottom of the air raft. He rolls it to one side, and you see a whole lot of bullets. A VRF Gauss gun is basically a Gauss minigun.
That's not cool.
Think of the thing on the Warthog.
Yeah, it fires at you. So, Andy, there's a bang and a clunk as it hits something on the bottom of the air raft.
Right. Well, for now, I'll risk it. Get on that mining laser and return fire.
Yep. If we've got time, I'll do that.
Right, Bracey.
And I'll get right and rapidly between.
I'm sorry, I
presume
you totally went robot there. I lost it.
Sounds like you were rimming a dog.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Right.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's Discord. We I don't know whether we need to change servers or whatever.
It's just him, so no.
All right, can he reconnect or anything?
It won't make any difference. It's just a dodgy connection he's on.
Yeah, okay. Damn you, Discord.
It's possible. I just don't think it'll make much.
Yeah. Well, at least he's still got power. Right, Andy. So, you feel the air raft sort of shuddering, and you don't think it's going to have enough altitude to clear the cliff. So Bracey, like the two guys are hanging on for dear life. Bracey's jumped on the back and he's unclipped the pintail mount and he's swinging the mining layers around. Are you going to try and fly straight towards the cliff? Are you banking round or?
What's me good further? Are we going to clear this cliff or not?
If he pulls back on the York, are we going to make it over?
You are going to have to make I would say a +4 success to get over the top.
I'll bank left back towards the colony.
Right, so Andy banks round. Right, Bracey, you do the old whoosh, and you spin the pintail mount round. The VRF guy's going to open fire on you. You open fire on it. So it's a forceful roll.
So
We both get 0. Which cancels each other out. So you fire your mining laser. It cuts a furrow in front of the truck cab.
enough to put the other guy off.
The guy obviously in the cab yanks the controls to one side. The guy who just lined you up, you're like staring down the barrel of this VRF gun. It whips him to one side, so all the bullets like zip over your head to the point where you can feel your ears waving the. Right, Andy, can you please make a driving roll, and you need a +2 to stay aloft because it's clunking.
Right.
It's obviously been hit by something.
What do I need to roll it on?
What do you think? I would say forceful if you're wrestling with the controls, flashy if you're going for some kind of flashy maneuver, possibly careful if you are trying to carefully keep it aloft.
Yeah. I'll go for careful because I really would prefer none of these chaps to fall out.
Plus you get, don't you have a thingy for driving as well?
Oh yes, I do. Yes, where the hell is it? Yes, I get a +2 when I drive an unfamiliar vehicle.
Right.
This is unfamiliar.
This is certainly unfamiliar. I'll let you have that. So that's a roll of 3. Right. So it bucks to one side. You see the VRF guy's going to go off and the bullets tear over Bracey's head. But you manage to avoid crashing. And as you spin round for a second attack, give us a roll there, Bracey.
Okay. Is it a...
It's forceful because you're shooting.
You
get a 5. I rolled 4 zeros. I'm going to use a fate point. I'm going to re-roll, but that's a drawn, not a selection. So we'll get rid of that, and I'll use a fate point for a re-roll. I get a 3, and I'm going to spend another fate point, and I am going to invoke the aspect of, oh my god, that's a whole shitload of lead in the air, which brings me up to a 5, so we're on evens unless you...
Right, I'm going to invoke my aspect of full auto for the win.
Yeah.
And I'm going to spend a fate point as well. And I hose that truck down.
Right, so you get a 7, which is 2 shifted damage. Right, so there's a great gout of flame from the mining laser, and it cuts through the front of the cab. It saws the driver's legs off, who screams, and because it's an air truck, it's like a big aircraft. It goes nose down and then starts spinning as it spins into the ground.
Cool.
Just at that point, though, Andy, there's an explosion and smoke pours out of the aircraft, and you need to make a roll of 4 to keep it in the air.
Right.
Would being very fast at this point help? Rich?
No, he's pretty much carefully trying to keep it in the air. Why?
Because I was going to invoke the aspect I feel the need for speed.
He's kept it in the air for 2 rounds, so he's been doing an exceptional job. But this thing is determined it's going to go down.
Shit, Brad, found us a soft spot.
Right. So, Andy, the aircraft dips to the ground. Looks like it's going to go nose in. You just get it up, and you pull it up, and the bottom of the aircraft scrapes along the ground as you pull it round. But you reckon it's not going to stay in the air much longer. The 2 guys who are manning the VRF Gauss gun, having seen you burn the front of the truck off, have jumped out and are running for the trees.
Can I re-engage them? Just to be a bastard?
Yeah, you can mow them down.
Oh yeah, I'll mow them down.
Go directly back to the colony, trying to take as much height as I can, because you can't glide in air.
Yeah, it's like literally on.
Can you drop me off, Andy?
You could jump out.
If I jump out, Rich, at an appropriate point, will I take any damage? Because we need to raise this pretty heavy weapon.
All right, okay. So the guys have ran away. The VRF Gauss gun is completely undamaged.
Ooh.
The front of the truck, however, has been sawn off. Andy, you managed to keep it up. You keep it up in the air another 15 or 20 meters, and then it just slowly grounds after it scratches and skitters and bounces a couple of times, and then literally runs out of steam and runs onto the ground.
Right. So we're on foot.
Shit. Have we got any comms with the guys back on the base, Rich?
You got comms, yeah?
What did we work out? What the range of our mortar is?
No.
It's probably not going to be enough to carry the battery fire.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Andy, down to you, mate. Just get us down in a soft spot.
Right, Andy's got us down. Got you down.
Mm-hmm.
That is screwed up. The only other vehicle, well, the air truck, you've sawed the front end off, so that's not in any state. You'd have to get the other 2 to bring the Jeep, really, if you wanted to carry the VRF Gauss gun. You can break it in 2 pieces and carry it, but it's literally that's all you can do is carry that. You'd have to drop it on the ground if you wanted to fight or climb or jump or anything like that.
We'll get the Grizzlies to carry that then. I say we what do you reckon, Andy? Get that Gauss gun and look it towards where roughly the firing's coming from. We should have I hope we've got a topological map of the area, Rich.
Well,
seeing as though we've been looking. I want to work.
Sorry,
go
ahead.
And while we're on, I'll unship the mining laser from the Pintel mount. We'll have to drag that along with us as well, because I'm not leaving that for them.
Right. If you remember, you've got your primitive hand communicators, i.e. your Nokia 3310s.
Yeah.
So you can call Earl and Dave.
I'll call Earl. Yeah, I'll call Earl.
Hello, you rat.
Yeah, shit's hit the fan. Aircraft's down. We're going to proceed to try and knock out the mortar. Let us know if you get an exact location on its position.
Will do, but how are you getting back?
We'll walk, of course.
Okay,
Shanks is Labrador.
Shanks is
Shanks
Labrador.
is pony, man.
Yeah, like I said, the only other vehicle's the Jeep.
Yeah. Well, I'll
pick them up.
Well, hopefully
send the Jeep to pick you up once you've cleared.
We'll let you know. There might be a vehicle we can commandeer after we've absolutely hosed this mortar place down.
my
If not,
kind of plan.
if not, we'll let you know.
Okie dokie.
Right, okay. Then
Ruff.
there's nothing better than splitting the party, is there? Nothing at all.
It always works well. Ruff.
Yeah, we can cause more chaos that way.
Right, you go over to the van. It said the driver's bled to death because she sawed his legs off.
Oh, shit.
And it all smells like a horrible burnt kebab in there. The VRF ghost
I'm
gun.
pettish all of a sudden.
The VRF ghost gun is fully intact, but it has like a portable power supply and a whole lot of bullets, which are basically iron nails, more or less. Please, can you both make me a clever roll? There's lots of clever today.
Wait a minute. I can do that as well.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Happy to oblige.
So, as you start looking at the ghost gun and realising that it can be demounted, Andy, you notice that there is a landline communications cable running west to the ridge and east into the forest. It looks like the cable is running in the direction of the mortar. Or, sorry, the giant rocket-propelled cannon that's shooting at Earl and Dave. Because
I shall point at it and whisper to the lads, they've left us a piece of string to follow.
Right.
Isn't that nice of them?
It certainly was. I'm wondering if it's worth just leaving the kit here now, pulling something vital out of it so they can't work potato with us, and getting it on the way back. Because it could take quite a while to lug this into a position where we can fire onto the mortar. Whereas if we go by ourselves, we'll probably get there in a lot less rounds and, a lot less casualties, hopefully.
The only problem I can say with the plan so far is there's liable to be more of them than there is of us, and they've got a bloody great big thing that lobs bombs. We might be outnumbered and outgunned. I wonder if it's worth lugging the VRF ghost gun there, because we can't do anything with the mining laser because we've got no power for it, and setting up an ambush.
Right. Okay. Richie, while Andy's disassembling this VRF ghost gun, I'll check the map for roughly where we think it is to see if there's any elevated positions close by it within a couple hundred meters. That we could get onto, set up the VRF ghost gun and then hose them down.
And while we're on, we might as well search the driver just on the off chance he's got a map.
Who these guys are.
The driver doesn't have any ID on him. He's got tattoos around his neck, and he's got tattoos on his wrists. He's wearing a paramilitary kind of jumpsuit. There's no Martins or insignia or rank insignia or anything, and it's just got a NARCirca mega corporation badge on, as if like it's a mass-produced cheap like combat jumpsuit.
Does this Nokia have a camera on?
It has got a camera on it, yes.
Right, I'll take some photos of the tats.
I'll ring him.
Right.
And I'll pick up the landline thing while Andy's doing that as well, and I'll listen to see if anybody's passed any comms.
It's not. No. It's just the wire is running across the road.
Ah, right. Oh, okay. My mistake.
It's heading towards where the shells are coming from.
Okay.
And presumably to whoever's spotting for them. Right, Earl, sorry, you rang.
I will ring him. Flee. And pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone. Flee.
Right, Earl, you hear another whistling noise coming in.
They're still shooting at us. Flee. And secondly, prisoner, please.
I'll do what I can. unfortunately, I'm getting rather hungry.
Oh, I am as well. I'm going to order a curry tonight, but that's by the...
No. I mean, to get the information out, I'm going to eat a prisoner right in front of them.
Stop eating prisoners.
Right. Okay. Okay. Go on,
Right.
Richie.
So Andy, are you disassembling the VRF gas gun for transport, or are you just pulling out the MacGuffin that stops it firing? Because it'll have a widget or a washer or a trigger or something that you can take off, won't it? It's bound to have.
Aye, or a little command interlock thing that's about the size of them 6-volt batteries.
Aye, that you can just handily put into your pocket.
Aye, well, I'll take her off first, and then if we decide that we're not taking it with us, I'll leave it here, and if we are, it'll come apart into 2 bits fairly quickly, I would imagine.
How heavy does this thing look, Rich?
Oh, it's heavy.
It's
Very heavy.
Okay.
Like I said, if you wanted it, you would probably have to get somebody to drive the Jeep out to carry the mining laser and or the Gauss gun.
I can do that.
See, because what I could do, Andy, is we'll make our way up to where this mortar's firing. I'll do my impossible shot once per adventure. Wait until they're just loading the ammo into the breach. Hit the ammo. Boom. Bang.
Right.
That's problem solved.
So Earl can drive the Jeep out. Have you sent these picture of these tattoos over your ears to each other?
Oh yes.
Right,
I'll
Earl,
ask the village elders if they've seen anything like this
you
before.
don't need to,
If
because as
either-
soon as you see these tattoos, you recognise them as like prison gang tattoos.
Oh, was this a penal colony?
No,
Is there one nearby?
not that you're aware of.
Ah. I'll head over to the
And the
Jeep.
attacks only happen every few weeks.
Maybe they're on day release from a 24-hour prison. Oh my god, they're white-collar criminals! Shit, we're in trouble.
Right, so Earl's offering to drive the Jeep out because there's no machine gun fire at the camp. There's just this artillery that's coming in.
Can Davey,
Shit.
can you track my location so
True,
you
that
can
actually
put
hits-
a red pill on my location?
That hits some buildings. Oh, because that's quite a good shot. Right, 2 of the huts explode near the community hall, scattering.
Oh, AFK again. Back in a sec. Keep going, because I can hear.
Scattering wood and metal everywhere.
Rich,
Yes?
can I create an advantage for Davy by passing him the rough direction that I've seen the flashes from, and tell him to look, from where we are, roughly, to where I've seen the flashes, to give him an advantage to try and spot where this mortar's firing from?
You can do a create advantage, yes, if you want to.
I will do that then. Will that be under clever?
That would be clever, yes.
Go! Shit!
Right. Dave Bracey tries to give you directions, but his comm goes... basically sounds like Andy sounds. That's how bad the communicator is.
Repeat,
Right.
please.
Right, Dave, you're scanning the trees over the ridge line. You're not picking up any sort of EMS output, which you can scan with Starship sensors, and you're not picking up any visual things because of your gadgety nature. You're estimating they're using some kind of camouflage that's blocking the sensors. If only you knew where it was, like you had a line running directly from the spotter.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for to get back to her, and then we're going to follow the line.
Right. Like I said, Andy, if you're going to disassemble a VRF house gun, it's going to take quite a few minutes, or you can just take the MacGuffin out.
Just pull the firing pin.
Aye, I'll just take the whatever it is out.
Right. Well, Earl can still hear, and he's still back at base getting shelled. So
I suggest we follow the piece of string.
Yeah. How much light is there at the minute, Rich?
it's just before dawn.
Right, which direction do these guys run off to? The way the wire's going, or in a completely random direction?
Completely random direction. They didn't
Right.
look as if they were running towards a particular place. That just looked away from the laser thing.
Right. How good's our doggy vision in this light?
I believe it's about the same as a normal human on a Varga, but it's just
Right,
your sense of
okay.
smell is much better.
Okay.
But all
What
you
we'll
can
do,
smell at the
Andy,
moment
is
burning
we'll,
driver.
we'll follow the wire, but we'll overbound each other. 2 covering, 2 going forward. You know,
Right.
then you drop. We'll go forward, and we'll follow this wire up to where we can.
Right.
Right. Okay. You start following the wire. Dave, the hand computer, the link suddenly goes dead, and there's just static.
Oh, we've been jammed.
Right. Up in the sky above, because it's in geosynchronous orbit and it's dark, you just see a explosion.
Oh crap! That's not good.
Oh, well, I guess I'll have to jump in the Jeep and drive off to where Andy and Bracey are then.
Did we not get anything on sensors, Rich?
No, Dave.
If there's another
Dave
starship or something.
Dave came through and said that he couldn't pick anything up on the ground, and he was pointing the directed sensors.
No. I mean, if there's another starship, that just blew our starship out of the sky.
Yeah, but he was scanning all the ground with the sensors.
Right. Right. Okay.
He was using active EMS
Uh-huh.
to scan the ground, and unfortunately, he didn't detect the other starship coming in, which then blew it up.
Oops.
Dave runs towards the truck. You and Andy, which way are you heading along the line? To the east or to the west?
East.
In the direction of that bloody big mortar thing.
Yes.
Right. The line runs east for about 300 metres, and it ends in a small clearing draped in camouflage netting. Under the netting is a howitzer seemingly abandoned. There's a small camp table. There's a cup and a flask, a box of donuts, an empty machine gun mount, an MG. It looks like an MG box of ammo, and a big box labelled "Explosives Danger."
Don't lick it.
Right,
I'm back. Sorry about that.
right.
guys.
Earl, Dave swears over the Nokia comm units, and there's a pretty explosion in the sky as the starship blows up. And Dave has decided to run towards the Jeep.
I'll wait for David. Is that a bad thing? How did they shoot it down?
Have another ship.
Well, won't they start shooting at us with it soon?
I don't know. Might you have the use of sandcaster against a laser?
Yeah, but the sandcaster's like pointing outwards like a shotgun. You can't point it upwards.
Yeah, we'll keep the sandcaster hidden.
Under
let's hope
tarpaulin on top of the church. Right, so you jump into the Jeep with Earl, who's driving.
I will floor it and head straight for the arm.
Straight for the where?
The rendezvous.
Right, okay.
I'm all military.
You tear ass, presumably avoiding the mines because you know where they are.
Yeah.
And crash into the jungle and drive through the jungle at night. Are you putting the headlights on, or are you just praying for luck?
No, I'm putting the headlights. Have we got night vision? We don't have night vision. I'm putting the headlights on.
You don't have night vision.
Putting headlights on.
Right, you crash into the jungle and you do one of those montages where you see the people going and like swerving left and right through the trees. Occasionally there's a shout, and once there's a bullet wangs overhead, but in the darkness, obviously they weren't expecting you to be out driving around in the Jeep.
I'll start screaming, "Oh, he's over here! He's over here!" That always confuses the shit out of people, because when someone says that, they look around, and it's like, what?
Dave, you're in the passenger side. You've got like the 2 triggers of the bullpup rifles, which are mounted on the Jeep. And you look awesomely cool. You look great.
Yeah, if I see any rifle flashes, I'll really turn.
Right, Andy Bracey. You're on the outskirts of this clearing. The clearing's covered by a camo net. Andy, if you would like to play me a clever role, there's lots of clever roles going on here.
I'll head straight for that area at full speed.
Well, I presume, have you set each other's communicators so that you can track each other, like Find My Friend?
Of course, yeah,
Right,
of
so
course.
you've got Earl, you've got Bracey's Find My Friend.
Aye.
There you are.
Andy, it's a high-tech camo net, not the kind of technology level you've seen on this planet. So it's blocked. It looks like it blocks active EMS scans as well as visual scans.
Right. So is this howitzer thing that's been hoying shells at us?
Yes, it certainly looks like it.
Right. I shall whisper to Flay, where's all the blokes?
I will do a careful scan from left to right across the entire clearing, Rich, looking for anybody or anything that looks unusual, like light.
Because if they're right behind us, I'll not be happy.
Right, can you please make a clever roll?
Ooh, okay, so I was carefully doing, but okay.
Oh, sorry, you're careful, yeah? You can make a careful roll.
Yeah.
Right, you can't see anything, but your nose starts to twitch, and you definitely smell humans off to the right.
In the forest.
In the forest on the edge of the clearing.
Right. I will
I'll get
visually let Andy and the
right, so Andy,
the grizzlies know.
Bracey points 2 fingers at his nostrils, and then waves them around in a circle, and then points over in a direction into the trees.
Right.
He wants you to go over there and pick his nose.
Right. Can I say any? Right. Is this howitzer moving?
No, it's in place. It's
Yeah. No. I mean,
fire its stand down.
I'm just wondering if there's any weird high-tech camouflage, so can't actually see anybody standing beside it loading shells and shit.
No. There's no invisibility.
Right.
Not unless it was psionic.
Right. Can I have another careful look to see round the howitzer to see if there's any shells lying around or cases of shells lying around?
There's 3 shell casings lying there, and there's a giant box marked "Danger Explosive" in massive friendly writing.
Or does it have "Shoot me, please" written on it?
I
Because
don't
it's the same
know.
effect.
Well, I don't know if it actually detonates if I shot it or not.
Unless you shot it with a 9mm heat round.
So what do you do, Andy? Bracey's like going and having a sniff about in that direction. With his tongue long out.
I'll get me back against the tree so I'm facing in the direction of where these humans are, and I suppose by waggling me paws about, I'd better try and communicate this to the 2 Grizzly Adamsy types.
Right, they are militia.
The enemy is likely to be over there.
They are militia. They're
someone
likely to
fell
just
down the well.
someone fell down the well. Okay, let's have a clever roll for them and see how clever they are about it.
Pardon me.
A 1. Right, they get an idea that there's something over there in the trees. Right, Bracey. So what you have noticed is There's an empty machine gun mount and a big box of MG ammo.
Right.
So they've got the machine gun and it's pointed at us. I slowly slide down with me back against the tree until I'm lying flat on me stomach. And I shall motion to these two Grizzly Adams types to do the same thing. Because obviously what they're waiting for is they're waiting for us to creep into the middle of the clearing going, we found the house, and then we're going to find more than...
Yeah,
exactly.
Right, well, can you please make some sneaky rolls to see if you've been spotted?
And also tell me, please, because I'm driving there full whack and I'm going to get machine gun.
Bear in mind, I have got my ghillie suit on.
It's about 5 clicks, Earl, if you look at the scale.
That won't be as long. I'll drive at 100 miles an hour.
Through a forest in the dark.
What could go wrong?
He's got the headlights on.
Right. Right, yeah, there's no burst of machine gun fire that comes out from that and kill you. It doesn't look like you've been spotted yet.
Right. I tell Andy and the two Grizzlies to quietly, very quietly, or if hand signals will understand.
You'll have to use hand signals at this point, I imagine.
Right. I tell them to stay where they are, and what I'm going to do is work.
Sorry,
go on.
You can whisper to Andy because he's got doggy hearing.
Yeah.
You just whisper to each other.
Right. I'll tell Andy. This could be risky, but what the hell? I want Andy and the two Grizzlies to work the way slightly left. And then I'm going to work my way right. And then...
Presumably around the edge of the clear and still in the bushes.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Because what I want you to do is, well, when you get maybe, 30, 40 metres round, let off a couple of rounds or, jump up, whatever, so they can see you. They'll start engaging you, and I'll be able to see where they are from where I am, and with my silenced weapon, I will take them.
So hold on, let me get this straight. You want Andy to stand up and go, "Cooey, mister, we're here," against the possible enemies with a heavy machine gun.
Well,
Is this a me reading the situation right? Because I love this plan, but then, again, I don't know how Andy feels about it, but I love this plan.
All right, just hide behind a big, thick tree, which isn't going to get shot through, and just fire a couple of times. Yeah, so I can see where they're going to, because they'll open up, pretty much, and then I can work my way around in my ghillie suit, hidden with my sniper rifle, silence, and shoot the shit out of them. Hopefully,
right. Sneaky rolls.
Because that is my speciality, after all.
Sneaky rolls as you're now moving through the dungeon. Moving through the forest. Right. You have to beat a 3. Allegedly.
Do I not get a bonus for my ghillie suit?
That would be an invoking advantage, and if you spend a fate point, then you can invoke your ghillie suit.
I'll invoke my ghillie suit using my last fate point.
Isn't that just you with like bits of twig stuck in your fur though?
Yeah.
Right,
so he makes it look good.
You creep round to the side. By some miracle, you're not actually spotted, and you see 2 men, 2 women, all middle-aged, with a machine gun, and they're looking in towards the howitzer. They've got the gun trained in there. But they don't look like professionals, so they're wearing the same grey paramilitary suits. They're carrying submachine guns, and they've got daggers strapped to their hip.
Right. Okay.
Again, they're wearing tattoos. Some of them have got the little eye drop tattoos coming out of the corner of their eyes.
Yeah, they're pretty right. Okay, I lie very carefully take aim at the one at the back.
You can hear with your superior dog hearing, Gracie and Andy, you can hear him going, "I don't know about this," and the other one's going, "I'm getting a bad feeling, man," and the last is going, I really think we should get the hell out of here because we're not getting paid enough for this.
Right. Well, what I was saying, I'll draw a bead on and aim at the one that's like, furthest to the right. So,
Right.
so I'm going to shoot the one at the back and then the next one and then work my way forward to the left, if you know what I mean? So they won't see, hopefully, the guys at the back getting shot.
Right, you know for a fact that silencers are not that effective, don't you?
Yeah, I know. But when Andy starts opening up, I'm going to fire as well.
Right, I love this plan. Right, okay, Andy, so you move into position. You haven't been spotted. Apparently, the plan is for you to jump up and wave your arms about and go...
No, you don't have to jump up. As I said, just sit behind a big tree and fire for a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
And that'll create an advantage by distracting them, and then I'll start shooting them.
Can I see them at all from where we are now?
Make a... Give me some clever loving. And I'll give you some sneaky opposing.
Right. And about clever.
Ooh, you can't say them. They're more sneaky than you are clever.
Ooh.
You can use a fate point and invoke your vagus senses of smell and hearing. That will give you a 4.
Yeah, I'll use a fate point. There you go.
Right. So you don't initially see them. But you hear them muttering with your superior hearing, and you can smell them. So you peer into the distance. The sun is just coming up now, and you peer into the distance and you see them in the trees.
Right. In that case, I shall indicate to these 2 Grizzly Adams types so that they can see them as well.
Could actually try shoot at them, then nip behind the tree before they return
I was
fire.
just going to say, can I actually see them, or can I sort of see the bush I'm sure they're hiding behind?
Yes, you can see, you can kind of see the foliage where they're hiding behind. You haven't actually seen them, but you can smell them and hear them.
Right. I shall put a short burst right in the middle of that foliage.
Right.
Aiming at sort of, thinking they're probably crouching down, so sort of, I don't know, chest height?
Yep. So are you creating an advantage, or are you trying to kill somebody?
Well, if I kill somebody, it's a bonus. I'm trying to create an advantage for Flay over there.
Yeah, so you basically spray in the area and hoping they'll keep their heads down. Flashy. It's quite flashy, sir.
Ooh. Well, I would have said he's created an advantage to try and get them to engage himself, to engage Andy. Because as soon as they start firing, making a big noise, I'm going to start shooting them with a lesser noise.
Yes. Well, Andy, roll your flashy creating advantage. You get a 1, and they get a...
I can chuck a fate point into this if I have to.
They get a 3. So you don't create an advantage. If you put a fate point in, invoking something like Dawn's light, so you can't be seen properly, or anything else that you can think of, then it would be evens, which means that Bracey gets a +2 boost.
Right,
But it's only a 1-off.
By the old Dawn's early light. There we go.
So Andy lets out a terrific burst from his ACR. It zips around.
I was just thinking, from behind the safety of my very large thick tree, I might try the old blood-curdling howl while I'm on.
I like it. I love it. Right. So, Brazy, there's a blood-curdling howl, and there's automatic fire sprays into the bush. You see them throw themselves to the ground, and then one of the women immediately jumps up and just runs off into the bushes.
Okay.
And it looks like the other 3 are looking as if they're going to try and run away.
Right. Can I get a bead on the back one, but not the one that's running away? Can I get a careful aim?
Yes, you can carefully shoot somebody.
Okay, I will carefully shoot him.
Right, go on then. You get a +2 for Andy's advantage, so that's a damage shift of 2. and you take the guy down. Where do you shoot him?
Ooh. If I go for the head, is it going to be a minus or? Anyway, that's going to kill him, basically.
You're right. No, it's
Set him-
not
set-
a minus. You take him out.
Uh-huh.
You decide what you do. So you put a bullet straight through his head and kill him instantly, and he falls
Yep,
to the ground.
kill him
dead.
instantly. And then I draw bait on the next one, the next guy.
Right. They immediately abandon the machine gun and just run off in two separate directions, trying to get away. Andy,
Okay.
what do you do?
How much of this do I sense? The fact that they've just legged it.
You can hear them crashing through the bushes. Definitely, you can hear them crashing through the bushes as they're running off.
Right. Well, in that case, I shall leave the two Grizzly Adams types tucked behind this tree, and I shall continue working my way around the clearing to meet up with Flea at the other side, just in case there's some crafty bastard hiding under a bush.
We'll have him.
Right, Earl, you're zigzagging through the trees as fast as you possibly can. There's a flash in the headlights. You see some woman come running out from behind a tree, goes boom straight into the bonnet, flips over the top, lands behind you. You sort of half slam the brakes on and go to one side.
Brilliant.
And that's why you stay in your foxhole, because then some mad bastard in a
exactly what
jeep
my
doesn't
plan
run you
was.
down.
Well, we might have a prisoner if she survives.
Oh, yeah, is she alive?
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
I know, that's why Bracey's like, I kill him, okay.
Right. Don't worry.
Make a forceful roll, Earl, as you ram into it and say, let's see how badly she was hurt.
Oh, BRB by up.
-2. Wow. Okay, she is actually alive. She's got a broken arm and 2 broken legs, but she's alive.
Right, I'll
She
grab her
starts.
by the-
She starts screaming. Earl pulls
Hang
her-
on, Rich.
Yes.
Can I invoke my +2 elf shoes
Yes.
to make sure she survives?
Oh, she survived. She's just got 2 broken legs and a broken arm.
Oh, that's okay. Then I won't
she's-
bother.
Can I use my non-point advantage of I've got some duct tape in the back of this truck because there's duct tape everywhere, and duct tape the bitches?
Yes, absolutely. So you jump out of the thing, you rake in the toolbox from the Jeep, and you duct tape her mouth shut. Dave, what do you want to do? You see this woman go careering over the bonnet. Earl slams the brakes on, jumps out of the Jeep, and then duct tapes her gob shut.
I cover him just in case anybody tries to fire.
Okay, right. Andy's working his way through the forest, trying to get around behind one. Bracey, what do you do? Hi there, Bracey.
He went for wares.
Did he?
He went AFK second toilet, which usually means a wares. But if he's doing a squatty potty, he could.
He's doing a squatty pot. Squatty potty? Okay, Andy, so what are you trying to do now that you're sneaking through the bushes?
I'm just trying to check that there aren't any more well-trained little herberts on the side of this clearing, and I want to get round to the other side to link up with Flea, and then we'll bag that MG, because there's a nice box of ammunition in the clearing.
Back.
Right, okay.
The idea being that we'll have the MG, the ammunition, that posh camo net, and then we'll completely fuck that howitzer.
Yes, well, that howitzer is in the centre of the clearing, under the camo net.
I know.
Can I, having gunnery, I'm certain I've got gunnery, Rich, realign it to get a couple of rounds off into the tree line?
It's 80mm, you know, it's pretty damn big.
Yeah, but it's just a case of left a bit, right a bit, up, down, fire. And then we'll blow it to pieces.
Okay.
And while the others are doing that, We'll get the grizzlies to cover, give us cover and fire and stuff like that. What do you reckon, Andy? 1 or 2 rounds, then blow it to pieces?
Yeah, if you increase the inclination, doesn't that mean the rounds will not go as far, but they'll sort of go up in an arc rather than along?
Well,
Yes.
they're bound to have range tables and stuff. So,
Well,
Good point.
what they had was a spotter on the other end of the wire.
Oh, wouldn't it be lovely if we knew exactly which bush he was hiding under?
Right. So are you just the other 3 that ran away?
Mhm.
Sorry, 2 got away. Are you just leaving them?
I don't suppose I could get a snapshot off one of them running away, could I?
You could have a quick shot, yes.
Yeah, I'll have a quick shot.
And the other one just runs into the like literally.
Yeah.
There's no military training.
Average. Winged them.
Yeah.
Or not.
No, right. Your shot goes wide, and they run off. You can tell there's no military training. They're not doing anything. They're literally putting their heads down and running full force. Just at that point, you saw a brief flash of headlights through the trees. You heard a scream and a thump. And Earl and Davy come out of the bushes. Are you dragging her, or are you just tying her up in the back of the jeep?
I'll tie her up, chuck her in the back of the jeep, and then we'll go and nick the crew server.
Right. So
While I'm nicking it, I will say yoink, which is
Hang
the
on a
international
minute.
word for I own this now.
What did they use to bring the howitzer in with?
presumably the air truck that you chopped up.
Ah.
Can we see that as well?
Have we? Is there any sort of computer or battlefield aid?
Can you and Benson please give me a clever roll? That would be very nice of you.
Me?
You.
I am very clever. People say this about me all the time. They say, Earl is very...
Did you want one of me as well?
But not now. Now I am not
Yes,
clever.
why not?
Yeah.
Right. So, putting you all to shame, Cathcart, he says, there's not enough fire control gear here to do the targeting. There's no range tables. There's no maps or anything. Earl and Dave, as you've walked into the clearing, there's a camp table, 4 cups and a flask of coffee, a box of donuts, an empty machine gun mount, a case of machine gun ammo, and a massive crate marked high explosive, handled with care,
Steal it.
and a giant howitzer.
Steal it. There's a towable.
You could probably tow it. It would be quite slow.
Mine now. I'll turn around to Bracy, point and go, yoink.
Just out of curiosity, if I sniffle around the end of the barrel of this howitzer, this is definitely the one that's been firing at us, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Right.
Another question. Is there any communications gear about? Because I wonder if someone's calling in fire onto our position.
Can you
Does this
please
howitzer
make
look
me-
automated?
Make me a careful or a clever roll, please. No, it doesn't look automated. It looks like the 4 people crew have either been killed, incapacitated by Earl running them over, or
I'm being particularly clever now. I was particularly stupid earlier.
right. Earl, you sniffle about and badly concealed under some leaves, you
Excuse me,
find
sir.
another land.
That's my other dog impression.
Oh, yeah. And that's a fate point.
Now you're a mess.
That's definitely worth a fate point. So, you see, like badly concealed under some leaves, you see another line running a short distance away, and then it goes up a tree, and as you look up at the tree, you see this dispersed mesh aerial dish pointing northwards towards the equator. It's got some more of that fancy camo netting around it so that you didn't immediately see it.
Point at that and go, yoink. Where was it connected to? There's a comms dish up there, but where's the end of the wire?
The end of the wire runs to like a communicator that's down by the howitzer.
Go up the communicator. Is it on?
It is.
Oh, listen.
Right, so you listen at the comms, and you can hear some chatter about pull back, the feint's done, we just need to wait for them to come in now.
To come in? Oh, they're going to try to lure us in. That's a mistake.
Yeah, to where though?
Well, they must have left some way for us to track where they are. I could see in the comms, we will, but we don't know where you are yet. But I figure that's probably going to ship them up back.
Right, so you swagging the heavy machine gun and the ammo.
Swagging everything. Heavy machine gun, ammo, big crate of explosive stuff.
It'll take four of you to carry the, all four of you to carry the howitzer shells, because they're so enormous, and you load it into the back of the Jeep.
I don't think we've got time for this, Al. I think
Yeah,
we need to blow the howitzer.
They're letting us go because they want to fall back. So they've called a fallback order, which I assume went to all their units, which means they're falling back, expecting us to pursue them. And what we're going to do is steal this stuff, take it back to town, and use it to
Right, there's a huge boom, a magnificent flash, and a satisfying afterglow in the atmosphere directly above you. Dave, you recognise this as a magnificent trail from a ship's laser that's just vaporised the local cloud cover and ionised a big patch of the atmosphere. It's directly above you, and it burns a hole in the trees, maybe about 10 metres away. It's incredibly hot and trees catch fire. Then they explode because the water in the trees just is superheated instantly, and fragments of wood shower you.
I kiss ground. I'll turn around and say, I think they're going to try and kill us. I think this could be a trap. I think what we should do is steal a machine gun and blow up the howitzer. But we'll keep the ammunition.
Yeah, but how long is that going to take, though? If they're firing at us.
How often can they shoot, and how long will it take us to hitch up the howitzer?
They can fire quite quickly. The second shot comes in, landing directly on the clearing.
We should leave.
The howitzer explodes.
We're
that's
definitely
good.
leaving.
You all take, let's see, make some quickness rolls to avoid them, because you stand about going, oh, that was pretty. So you need to beat the 0.
Good.
Right, Earl, you take 1 point of stress.
Can I use a fate point?
That stress is just cuts and bruises. That goes away at the end of the scene.
Oh, it's all right. In that case, I don't want to use a fate point. I'll take some cuts and bruises.
Right.
I've already blown off. Recently,
You're
so
blown
cuts
off
and
your
bruises
feet.
in.
Again, like I said, the trees superheat and explode. The shrapnel.
I'm as safe as houses because I'm on the ground beside the Jeep under the prison.
Right, Andy, unfortunately, a large chunk of howitzer barrel comes flying through the air and embeds itself in the Jeep's engine. Or rather, it puts itself where the Jeep's engine used to be, because the force of the howitzer tears the engine loose and it flies off out into the trees.
Right. Are we up or downhill?
You are
Please say it up. I'll spend a force point to be. I'll
a
spend
force
fate
point
I'll spend a fate point to be uphill
uphill from
the
what?
town. From the town.
Well, you're basically where that red dot is on the map.
Right, so uphill.
Yes.
Awesome. Right, guys, get in. We're leaving.
Get in
No,
what?
wait.
The
I forgot.
jeep's
I've got a
been
point.
fucked.
Nope, it's just missing an engine. He didn't say anything about the wheels. Marines, we are leaving.
Right. So the plan is to just
Jump in the Jeep.
jump in the Jeep and coast.
I will sit in the Jeep. Everyone else will push like Billy O and jump.
Okay. Right.
Gravity, bitch.
Because of the explosion, the second shot was the final shot. The place is vaporized. The Jeep doesn't have an engine, but you did manage to swag the machine gun and the ammo, and you find in the back there's an unconscious woman who's got 2 obvious broken legs and a broken arm.
And she's got rape tape on her mouth.
Yes.
Duct tape. I'm not allowed to call it that anymore. I got some funny looks in Home Bargains. Right, push. I will pilot. Go towards downhill. Avoid them.
Right. So you start driving the Jeep. Is everybody pushing? Or
Oh, God, yes.
I will kind of. I doubt the headlights will work, but then again, I'll check the headlights, and after I crash my first ever car, I'll also check.
If it's a BMW or a bloody Mercedes,
Right,
it'll work.
well, there, Earl.
Because if it's a Volvo,
They've-
it'll still drive without an
They've told you there's a working VRF Gauss gun there on the edge of the cliffs.
Right, head straight for it.
Right,
Because they're probably pointing that VRF gun at the colony and not at the Jeep that's heading towards them rear.
Oh, no,
Silently from the...
It's not working.
All right, okay.
Because we've got the firing pin.
Do we need to stop and pick that up, or should we just keep moving?
If we have the opportunity, I think we should stop and pick it up.
Is there room for it in the Jeep?
Well, there's a passenger seat.
I think there's people in it.
Yeah, right. Well,
Not-
once you get
not
to the
for
top,
long.
once you get to the top of the cliff, Earl, you can
Cliff.
use the Jeep to coast down in an extremely dangerous manner that may
Yeah.
result in several deaths to the bottom
Yeah.
of the cliffs. But then it's pretty flat after that, so the Jeep's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
That's what fate points are for.
yeah, right. I am going to pilot down the cliff in a ridiculously dangerous way that will give us enough momentum to just coast into the town. My aim is to literally stop the Jeep in the centre of town when it runs out of...
No,
I howl on the way down.
It's a lot further than that, and if you remember, you're going through jungle, so you're not going.
Yeah, jungle.
Right.
Jungle just gets
So
out of your way.
as you approach the location of the truck where the Gauss gun is, a starship descends through the cloud base, red hot and firing her plasma engines to shed velocity. She has some kind of military or pirate martins and is probably 2 or 3 times the size of the loose booty. It drops slowly towards the colony. A single laser shot lances downwards, and then the ship drops out of sight behind the tree line.
Ooh, they've brought our ride. We definitely need to get there fast.
Shite ball.
So I will use a fate point and flash it.
Uh-huh.
I can't move my fate point, but I can draw on the map.
Right, well, just take fate points if you can. I don't know why some people can only get certain fate points.
I've done it. It's all right. I've chucked a fate point in. I've rolled a 1. Everyone needs to help me with advantage and stuff, like someone else shine the torch. I am on it.
I love your enthusiasm, right?
On it.
And I don't want to say no, but you're not
Click.
going to be able to roll a Jeep with no engine 5 clicks through a hot jungle on flat
I get it
ground.
down
It's
the
not
cliff?
going to work.
Can I get it down the cliff?
You can get it down the cliff.
I will get it down the cliff and coast it as far as it'll...
It only costs like 200 meters if you get down the cliff if you don't kill yourself. So
Yep,
that would
we'll do that.
So you flashed it and you used a fate point, so that's 3.
Help.
Um,
Help!
I invoke my aspect. I feel the need for speed. If that's going to help.
And that'll give Earl another 2. So Earl,
Yep.
breakneck. Have you taken the Gauss gun and put it into the back of the Jeep?
We'll have that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So the engineless Jeep. Is anybody else getting in this Jeep with this crazy dog?
Everyone.
Like hell, I'll walk.
Guys, it's perfectly fine.
Right.
No,
So,
I will use my special ability to persuade others to work for me to get them all to run around and jump in. Because I am the team leader. I've got this, guys.
and Andy's like, naff that. So it hangs slowly on the edge of the cliff, and then it just sort of teeters
I'll
forward.
jump up and down in the driver's
A
seat.
bit like the Italian
Forward.
job, and then
Yeah,
it
but
just goes.
I'll jump up
zoom,
and down in the seat
disappears
to
over
help.
the edge of the cliff like boulders and stones scattered everywhere. You hear Earl go, ah! And as he wrenches the wheel left and right. By some miracle, he manages to keep it on 4 wheels until it gets to the bottom of the cliff.
I'll scream woohoo in doggy. Which
Yeah,
is
I give a doggy howl as we go down.
He manages to not crash it into a tree
Flee!
at the bottom of the cliff.
Flee! Flee! Halfway down.
Woof.
Flee! We're
Woof.
dogs of war.
Ow!
As you do,
Mad dog.
Andy, he communicates you, rings up, and it's Ernesto, and he says, we'll have to surrender. They're firing ship weapons at us. I'm sorry.
No, we don't. We're on our way back. Don't worry about it.
You
And then
stole-
the communicator suddenly goes dead. Right. Earl's Jeep stops about 200 metres from the base of the cliff. It's basically bogged down.
Can't make it go further by rocking backwards and forwards in my seat.
No, but you can make it rock backwards and forwards.
The way you're doing the swing.
The rest, if you carefully climb down the rough cliff.
I'm still there rocking backwards and forwards trying to make it go. How are the 2 Grizzly Adams looking after they drove down the cliff?
They are looking white and shaken because they are not used to this level of craziness.
Right, guys, get the guns. We've got to go and rescue the other dog.
Right. You guys head back into camp. I'm going to grab one of the grizzlies, and I say, "See you later, guys." I'm going to take them up north through the forest line.
Have we got a medic?
Dave is, well, anybody can be a medic, but Dave is pretty good at it.
Are we all here?
Pretty much.
You're all there,
Right.
except Tracy has some crazy idea of going north. I don't know why.
Wait a minute, Bracey. I think we have to switch to counterinsurgency mode or insurgency.
Exactly. That's why I'm going north.
What
Now
we,
we'll
what we
all
need to do
switch.
is nick a starship.
I'm going to harass,
I've
fire, and
found
kill as
one
many as I
over
can.
there that'll do great. No. They'll come looking for us. Don't worry about it. Right. We need a plan.
Kill them
Right,
all.
as he's discussing this, your communicator, your radios come to life on the open channel. Hey, dogs, we've got your friends here, and we're going to kill them. If you don't surrender now, just radio in and we'll come and collect you. No pressure.
I'll turn around and say, we could surrender
No.
Shite.
and then take them from behind, or claim one of us is dead, like Bracey,
Yeah.
and he can go Rambo on their shit, or we can just let all the people die because they're not our friends, really.
Did we see where the starship landed, Rich? Is it in the colony or is it off from somewhere the colony?
That must be close if they've got our friends.
Do we even know they have though?
I assume so.
Well, it's.
I mean, I
considering we
know
had an
they-
entire defensive line.
Well, yeah,
Hang
but
on.
I think they surrendered because they were getting shot. But, lasers.
Yeah,
There
but
you go.
if-
One starship.
Oh, guess
Okay.
where the starship? Shit, you know what once happened to me? I lost my heart to a Starship Trooper.
God.
Flashing lights in hyperspace. Sorry.
So, that's roughly where it looked like it was coming into land because it disappeared behind the tree line. But coincidentally, that's exactly where it wants to land.
Well, to be fair, I don't think the colonists might have grossly underestimated the situation when they hired us for this job.
True, but I'm really, really pissed off now, and I'm going to kill as many two legs as I can.
Plus, you have to remember, you hate to solve the problem because. Hang on, I think that's.
No, they lied to us. Fuck them. What's really important is that thing right in the middle of the colony, because that's our ride home. Anything else doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So, who gets killed as long as it ain't us? I couldn't give a rat's fart about.
Look at that magnificent drawing of a spaceship landed.
I mean, theoretically, they don't even know that we're still alive because they called in fire on us. So if we stay off the air...
Exactly.
And then we infiltrate, make the starship, kill them all, Bob's your uncle.
And go home.
Yes, but what
you
you
know, when you look
tiny
at
little point, you're not actually going home. You're here to solve whatever's causing the universe rift. I know you're getting you're becoming your paper dolls as well. So unfortunately,
you know that wonderful bit of artwork there. It looks a bit like a red-faced, one-legged woman with short arms.
Yes, it does.
Sorry, I've been on a date with her.
Just the idle sort of things that occur to me.
I don't want to know what's dangling. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So you haven't responded.
Should I talk to them?
No. Because the longer we don't talk to them, the longer
but
they
they're going
don't
to
know
start
we're still
doing things
alive.
like killing civilians. Well, what we can do is, I tell you what, should I go and surrender, right, and use like go Rambo on them?
Yeah, but
and I can annoy the shit out of them.
Who's left in the town? Is it Davey?
No, Davey's with you.
There's nobody there but us.
We're all together.
There is a couple of NPCs, a couple of the Vargo NPCs who were like listed as like sidekicks, and Lassie from the other ship, and a whole bunch of farmers, and Ernesto who's like your mate.
Right. Hang on. Can we get to the tree line and I'll have a scan of the settlement to see if there's troopers walking around and stuff.
One air raft, they said. Nobody mentioned Shack and Great Starships.
They did say 40 blocks and one air raft.
That was before we got bloody backstabbed.
Yeah, so they lied to us, so fuck them.
Well, I think what we should do is lull the enemy to a false sense of duty by me surrendering. And then you lot kill them. And then I'll escape and kill them from behind.
I wonder if I could cover me ghillie suit in this bloody high-tech bloody cam netting, and that'll hide us from all the sensors.
Well, I know a man who probably could. Don't you, Dave?
Uh-huh.
Right, so...
Right. Has everyone agreed on our plan? Use lock, go Rambo, I'll surrender.
There could be 200 or 300 troops in the village there, which is why I want to have a look to see how many there is.
I'll tell you how many it is as I walk in.
And personally, I don't think it's a good idea splitting the party again.
I won't be split, I'll be surrendered. And I'll then help them kill his because I'm untrustworthy. By the way...
I've got a plan. I've got a brilliant plan. Probably won't work, right?
We should try it.
Somehow we'll get them to form up in formation to say we want to, give respect to them, and then I use the sandcaster and blow the shit out of the formation.
They have sandcaster. It's in the town.
Is it? Yeah, it's on top of the... I thought it was on top of the church.
It
It's
isn't
on top of the church
But they
under a
might have noticed
tarpaulin.
it. But we haven't fired it, so they might not know it's there.
If it's still there, though, boom.
Well, the way to find out is if I surrender. Use lot 18 this shit. I'll surrender and work from the inside.
Well, hang on. Let's have a scan first to see if we can roughly work out how many troops we're facing before you surrender yourself, and then we'll discuss if you need to surrender yourself. Because
And also,
there might
if
be
we
like
can work
30
out
or
what sort
40
of ship it is.
Yeah. It could be a complete another pile of crap.
They have a
It-
giant spaceship. I mean, that's usually a sign.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a Corsair and a mercenary cruiser.
It's not a Star Destroyer. I don't give a shit.
I'm not allowed
Well,
to
this went bang, so we can get rid of the loose booty, can't we?
I like that ship.
I love that ship.
Trade up time. Yoink.
I'll work my way at the clearing, Rich, very carefully, and I'll have a good scan through my scope or my binocs, and I'll see if I can get a rough tally on the enemy I can see.
It's gonna right if you're humping the broken down VRF Ghost gun into two parts, one person each can carry them. The machine gun and the ammo is going to be another person. And Earl did take a big box of high explosive 80mm shells, which are incredibly heavy, but you could hump maybe one each, like if you weren't carrying anything else.
Well, I'll take the MJ and the ammo.
Let's get a scare going on what we're facing first, and then we'll work out a plan.
Okay. I agree with the plan before my plan.
Jesus, what's happened there? All I've got's a big purple map with BFG on it.
Don't worry about that. There you go.
Oh, that's good, right.
I was trying to delete the ship that got blown up and we don't need anymore. Unless there's another one. No, there isn't.
I have diluted Vimto.
Shall we invoke 6 fate points, and we'll get what's left in orbit to crash directly on top of that starship?
There was a very pretty, Death Star Mark II in the orbit of Endor kind of explosion upstairs.
So not much left.
You do know when that happened to kill the 80% of the life on Endor, right? No one ever talks about that. The end apocalypse.
Yeah.
Right.
It was only smaller first.
Andy grabs the machine gun and the ammo. Who's carrying what? You remember you've got 2 NPC opwars who can carry a shell or a part of a VRF Ghost gun. The VRF Ghost gun breaks down into basically the power pack and the firing mechanism, and then the big barrels. So one person can carry the barrels and the other person can carry the other part. So that would be 2 people to carry the Ghost gun if you're taking that with you.
I'll go down and accept their surrender.
So who's taking what? Andy's got the machine gun.
Well, where we're taking it to first?
To the camp, presumably. He's a hike in there, aren't you? Or are you just leaving it at the cliff?
No, we're not gonna just march into the camp where there's a big starship sitting in the middle.
No, but we'll get within range to have a squad.
You can get to the edge of the forest and not be seen. That was the problem that the pirates had. Or
we'll go there.
Right, you lot start humming. I'll nip down. I'll get us. I'll do a careful bloody skeg of the village, and I'll try and get a tally on roughly how many.
Right,
you wouldn't like to rephrase any of that, would you?
So,
right,
like I said,
you start carrying the guns and the ammo down. I'll make my way to the forest edge, and I'll carefully scan the village for how many enemies we're fighting.
Right, so Andy's taking the machine gun. What are the 2 opwars carrying?
Ammo and a shell.
Right.
I'll carry stuff that's needed.
Half a Gauss
I
gun.
carry part of the VRF.
Right, so you're taking the Gauss gun and the machine
Yeah,
gun
we'll take the stuff
and one
that they are.
giant 80mm shell. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do with the 80mm shell, but I'm sure we'll find something to do with it.
Work something.
That'll cause a distraction.
I'll
what
take
we're,
it.
what we're going to do
well.
is we're going to attach a remotely detonated demolition charge to it, and we're going to creep into the base in the dead of night and shove it up the chuff of that ship, and then nobody's going home.
Yep. Davey turns it into a shape charge. Boom. There we go.
Yep.
Well, I'll be on board the ship. What you can do is use it to blow the section out below us, so I drop down and escape.
This is an 80mm rocket-propelled shell. When you talk about blowing the section out below you mean like the front half of the ship?
No, I'll be protected because I'm going to whistle the Great Escape tune.
Right. Anyway, Bracy goes off ahead. He scouts.
Right.
I
I do it very carefully, using all my training.
The
as a
pirate
gun-putting
vessel
sniper.
is sitting right about the centre of the town. It's an ugly ship, about 600 tons with plenty of turrets. In the last few hours, the raiders have improvised a large scaffolding to one side of the ship, marked thus. One large Mad Max type scaffold. Muriel, Ernesto and the remaining crew of the loose booty are standing on it. They have placards around their necks with the word unreasonable on them. Lassie, the Varga engineer, has been stripped, shaved and is on all fours with a leash and collar round her.
Oh, I'm annoyed now then.
There is a pair of pirates patrolling around the ship and keeping an eye on the prisoners. You can see a few others running around and staggering as though drunk. You can also faintly hear whoops, yells and raucous dance music.
Oh, this could work to our advantage, lads.
Right, so do you look at anything specific?
I am very carefully going from one side of the settlement to the other, taking a tally on enemies and where they are.
Right, okay. Right, well, the first thing you notice on is that all of the prisoners are tied behind the scaffolding. You also notice that the scaffolding is mounted on drums of oil.
Shit, by them.
And you can see a lot of people wandering around, drinking, cavorting, fighting, having sex out in the open.
Right. Are they all human or are they different races?
They are all human.
Damn.
So, what did you do about the woman in the back of the jeep as well?
Oh, somebody really ought to question her.
Yeah.
Actually, what I'm thinking on, if we want to get on that ship, we need a living prisoner, preferably one of the crew, in case they have a security system tied to some sort of communicating type gadget. Right. Just saying, before we all get fried in the airlock.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, but I'm thinking of putting in for the job next time it comes up.
No, I'm thinking, okay, you've got one of the 80mm shells, and then it says, if Sheba kept one of the 80mm shells, and then blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, holy crap, the thought about somebody carrying one of the 80mm shells all the way back to the base.
Yeah, but did they think of somebody carrying several of the 80mm shells all the way back to the base?
Well, you only got one with you because the other guy was carrying ammo. You would have to send somebody back, and it was set a couple of hours hike.
What sort of ammo is he carrying?
He was carrying the Gauss gun ammo.
Oh, right, fair enough.
The remainder of the MG ammo, because there was one of those little boxes that you stick in the side of an MG, but then there was a crate with like 8 individual boxes. So he's got all of the MG ammo.
Oh, champion.
And you've got one 80mm shell. So, Bracy comes back and reports.
Well, the way I say it, we've got 2 choices. We either disable the ship and then nobody's going home, or we pinch it.
We free the prisoners, kill the pirates, and take the ship.
Yep, I'm going for that, Div.
What about just taking the ship?
Could do, but
Just
in my
just
bio, I hate two legs, so I'm up for killing them all.
just so as you know, in my bio, I'm supposed to be callous.
I need to go and piss. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
What, up against the tree? You should have. If you'd said, "I need to go and cut my leg," I'd give you a fate point. Right. So you've had the description. You finally hump all of your respective gear down to the tree line. You can move round the outside of the colony to any point you wish. Just make an X in green or something where you want to be.
I sniff on his ass. Is he scared?
Probably am, as I've just farted in your face.
Well, I don't know.
Looking at that, if we want a distraction, the only thing that's liable to go bang with any sort of impact is going to be the generator.
Yeah. Although, if they're already drunk, by tonight, when it gets darker, they're probably going to be absolutely crap-faced, which means they're not disciplined troops. They probably haven't got all these ex-prisoner types.
And with a bit of luck, with it being the first night, they're liable to be mostly off the ship.
Yeah.
Shagging the locals.
Unfortunate, but if that's the way it goes. Right. Roughly how many did I tally, Rich, when I did my scan?
There's tons in those grey jumpsuits carrying small arms and knives, daggers, knuckle dusters, that kind of thing.
Are we talking hundreds or?
Yeah, probably. You did see one guy who was wearing a ship's suit, so it's kind of like, it can be an emergency vac suit if you need it. He was wearing a ship's uniform. He was walking between the scaffolding and the ship, and he didn't seem to be staggering about drunk.
Right. He's probably an officer or a leader, so he's the first target.
Well, the others are not in ship uniforms. They're just in, like I said, they're generic, army surplus jumpsuits. As you're watching the ship through your sight, you see the guy walk up to one of the airlocks. He holds his face against the side of the ship. Then you see him tap in something into a keypad, and the iris opens, and then he walks inside. There's an iris valve on the right and left side of the ship that you can see. There's turrets on the back on the either side, and there's one top and bottom.
Okay. How the hell do I got these?
Well, we need to get on the ship, and to get on the ship, we need somebody from the crew. Because otherwise we ain't getting through that iris unless we use the 80mm shell, and there's probably not going to be a lot left to fly off it.
Yeah, but it's you still just want to get in the ship and run away, though, Andy, don't you?
Hey, once we're on the ship and it's ours, I'm open to offers. The thing is, the most firepower in the colony is sat there right in the middle. And I would much rather that we had our fingers on the trigger than some bugger else did.
True.
It's a very good point. And I have returned sans urine.
Right, Earl, I don't know if you heard. there's like the guys in the grey jumpsuits, which are like the prisoner guys, who are running around in a general Mad Max sort of way, drinking, cavorting, and partying. But you did spot one guy wearing a ship jumpsuit who went up to the airlock. He held his face against the hull, and then he tapped something into the code, but you couldn't make it out, into a keypad, and then the iris opened. There's an iris to the left and to the right. There may be others, but they're the only ones you can see.
Well,
This is...
if I surrender, they might let us inside.
I suspect if you surrender, you're going to finish up on the scaffold along with the rest of them.
Yeah.
There's two iris valves you can see, which are supposed to be level, but because I'm freehanding it, they're on either side of the ship with little retractable ladders leading up to them. There's also a bunch of those prisoners where that grey line is. Tied up here, all of the colonists are tied up in that area, but the troublemakers are there, and Lassie is being shaved, stripped naked, and she has got a collar and lead on, and she's strapped to the scaffolding.
Is there anybody standing right beside the scaffolding, like a static guard or anything like that?
There's two of the grey jumpsuit guys walk in a circle around the ship. They seem less drunker than the others, but they still don't seem... They're not like paramilitary types at all.
Where are they getting the drink from?
Well, there was a store of a homemade hooch, plus the drink and the paint thinners, the bleach, the antifreeze.
Oh, well, we could find that and poison it, because I bet they're not giving it the local.
Mr. Plant?
We've got an engine. Hasn't it got actual antifreeze? I have a car with what's left of an engine.
It has.
I asked one of the Grizzlies if they had all the colonists in one place, where would they be held? In the community hall, the store, or the school nursery?
They're probably all locked up in the community hall. That's the biggest building. That's the only one where we'll get everybody in.
Right.
And since one of the barns seems to have been destroyed...
Has anybody questioned this prisoner yet?
I don't think she's awake.
I'll wake her up.
She was unconscious, but she's back at the thing unless you dragged her with you.
I'll drag her with us. I'll wake her up.
Right. You slap her awake. She goes...
Your legs and one of your arms are broken, and unless you want me to start grinding the bones together in a horrendous cacophony of pain, you're going to talk to us. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'll see if she nods.
She nods.
Okay. I'm going to take the tape off, and if you make any stupid noise, I'm going to stab out one of your eyes with my foot.
And then I'll fucking eat you.
You're determined to eat somebody, aren't you?
Where? Why are you attacking the village?
She says... Because you've
No,
got
after I took the tape off.
All right. She says, the raid was offered to us as community service, and if it was successful, we'll be rehabilitated to this world.
Ah, you do know that they intend to kill you if the raid's successful, right?
She says, no, they promised...
Nope, they lied. We already know they're definitely going to kill you guys because we were told that we had to come here and protect them from a gang of mercenaries, because once the mercenaries took control of the town, the people who hired them was going to wipe the mercenaries. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Why share? Would you share?
She says, I don't know. They just told everybody down at Scrope.
What's Scrope?
Scrupp Correctional Facility.
And where's that?
It's a private subcontracting prison. You've heard of it, Earl? Well, your doll's heard of it. But it's a couple of jumps out from here.
All right, okay. So why do they want this planet? And why are they using you guys as their disposable infantry? Because you are disposable. I mean, come on. Have they done anything in any way to help you guys out other than give you some weapons and point you in this rough direction?
She says, we're all lifers. We've got no choice. It's this or nothing.
What about escape?
She says, you don't escape from the screw-up.
Ha! Challenge accepted.
Hold my point.
So, okay. So they told you that you'd be just doing this and then you'd get rehabilitated.
Yeah, we'd get our prison sentences cut. We could make our own place on this little planet.
Okay. Under their control, but then again, that doesn't make much difference if you're already under their control, right?
Yeah, well, we just had to scare us off or kill them if the worst came to the worst.
So, how come they've landed a giant spaceship? That seems a little bit like you guys failed.
She says, I don't know, the crew are in charge. The crew of the ship, we just do what we're told.
So basically, the crew's in charge. They've decided you lot are fucked up, and they've decided to move in themselves. Do you think this will end well for you guys? Or do you suspect that maybe that now they don't need you anymore, they'll just do away with it? I mean, I understand that you're doing this because you're desperate. Don't get us wrong. But you're about to get fucked. I mean, you know yourself you're about to get. I mean, I can see it in your eyes that you know that you've been used. I mean, where was your support? You had none.
She
At
said,
all.
Well, we had the mercenaries that were crewing the howitzer.
The mercenaries that were crewing the howitzer? You mean the ones that we got a message telling us where they were? They were bait to draw you in, and the mercenaries ran.
She spits and says, them pussy star mercs.
Exactly. My friend wrote the Star Mercs book, but that's by the by. Right. So basically, they screwed you in a huge way, and they're busy screwing the people who live on this planet. Yet, I'm pretty sure if you talk to them, you could make some sort of cooperation agreement where you live with alongside.
She says, yeah, but we need the screw to sign off on our tickets. That's no good.
Or what they're going to do. Admit that they have been using as mercy. That's sort of going to get them in a lot of trouble with the authorities that send people to. Don't you think? Which is probably why they've intervened, because they realised that the cat was out of the bag. Cat! Sorry.
Love it. She says, I don't know what you want me to do. I've told you everything I know.
It reminds me of an old fable. A woman phones her husband while he's sitting in the pub and says, if you're not home in 20 minutes, I'm going to feed you dinner to the... And the bloke said, you know something, that's out of order. It's not the dog's fault.
She looked at you confused.
Dogs barking can't fly without umbrellas.
She just looks really confused.
Okay, we'll try it another way. You guys are screwed. How about you talk to your guys? If I can get someone as a representative of your guys, there's got to be a leader amongst the prisoners.
She says Captain Graham's in charge.
Yeah, but that's one of the mercs, isn't it? Who's in charge amongst the prisoners? There's got to be someone who was Billy Big Bollocks.
Big Stan.
And Big Stan to make the other guys do as he asked.
I don't know. Maybe.
If Big Stan told you to do something, would you do it?
Yeah, because he's the baddest ass in the entire prison.
You see? That was easy. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down there, talk to Big Stan, persuade him that he's about to get screwed, and have him get your guys to help us take out the people who dragged you here. And then what I'm going to do is then get in touch with the authorities and rag on the prison. And if I have to, I'll fly that ship to the prison and we'll smash it. Because you know why? Because that's what we do.
We break this
Isn't
stuff.
that right, Flea?
Woof.
Actually, that was probably the wrong person to talk to because Flea just likes eating people.
I just sit there and lick my lips.
Okay, so I'm going to ask my friend here to try and fix you up a little bit, and you're going to be really good and behave yourself, or Flea will actually eat you. Because he'll say it jokingly that he wants to eat you, but then when push comes to shove and we dare him, he'll actually eat you just to prove it. If you're lucky, he'll kill you first, but it's quite likely he'll just fucking eat you.
Don't forget the screwing bit.
Okay? Capiche?
Yeah. Whatever you say, man.
Okay. Rich, can you tell us about 20 minutes before we finish? Because I need to order Tracy's takeaway.
No bother. What time do you just want to finish? Because it's 10 o'clock now.
I'm a bit achy, so I mean I could finish now if he's like.
Any preferences?
I'm completely easy, for
I'm
I
easy.
have many bottles of cider.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll stop it and we'll do the attack on the ship. I guess next session. Do you have a plan yet?
Yes,
I know you have
Kill
a plan.
everything.
I'm going to surrender to death.
Okay. Anybody else got another plan?
I'm going to sing in the church, then shoot the shit out of everything I see.
Because the problem is, you see, Andy's right that if they lock down the iris valves, you'll never get them open short of an explosion.
Well, what we could do, right, is I'll try to communicate with them and lure them outside, then you guys hit the iris valves. Or worse still, we'll get their lead and make them open the iris valves. Because the worst case, they could just leave us here. Because we have no way to get off planet now.
Yeah, well, apparently there's two factions. It appears that the ship's crew and the convicts are two separate factions. So you're pretty
We're going to get the
sure
convicts
that
on side.
they would have no compunction just blasting off and leaving them to their fate, to be fair.
Yep, so we need to capture someone from the crew or get me on the...
Yeah, so you need
And then I'll
capture
18
somebody
my
from
way
the
out.
crew. They've apparently got a two-factor authentication on the iris valves. So
Oh, we'll fix